We now know the two favorites to be the next head coach for the New York Jets. Plus, there's more interviews to come this week. Why wouldn't there be? We have all the latest on the New York Jets head coaching and GM search. Let's roll.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Like the video, hit subscribe as you're coming in here on YouTube. We're also streaming live on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page and my Twitter account at BoyGreen25, baby. So keep the good times rolling as far as I'm concerned, and let's everyone pour one out for Sam Darnold. Good Lord. He had the holy hell beaten out of him. The ghost, the spirit, and everything in between. Pour one out for Sam Darnold, who lost a whole lot of money last night in that super wild card game against the Rams. All the money he had built up all season long was lost in the last 2 weeks against the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams in the playoffs. So let's pour one out for Sammy, wherever he may be. Yikes. We'll see what that does for free agency. And also, let's pour one out, Jet fans, for the J.J. McCarthy hope for a trade. That one seems unlikely. That it does. So NY Jets FL saying, anyone who wanted J.J. McCarthy in trade, well, that one's pretty much gone. And it's gone. Yes. I would imagine that that stock went south for the winter. That stock went out. With that being said, let's get into happier times with the Jets head coaching search, and there's a variety of things to get to. First off, we have a full article in the YouTube description down below if you guys would like to read up on this big news from ESPN's Rich Cimini. He appeared on Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. That's the new Michael Kay show, basically. Michael Kay show has his own shortened version a little bit earlier on 8:80 a.m. ESPN New York. But on Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, he talked about who are the two leading favorites for the New York Jets head coaching position. Let's listen in.
What else interests you out there right now in this coaching carousel, if you will?
Well, just as a footnote, this Jeff Ulbrich, they just announced that Jeff Ulbrich has completed his interview with the Jets.
Great.
I do not believe they will be hiring Jeff Ulbrich as their full-time coach. But I would say that the names that intrigue me and I think intrigue the Jets most right now are Aaron Glenn and Brian Flores. Now, they've already interviewed Glenn. Flores is going to come up this week. Obviously there's some very strict rules about when you can and can't talk to these coaches, but they've already interviewed Glenn. I think he'd be a very good choice for the Jets. Done a fabulous job as their D coordinator in Detroit. Former Jet. You guys have talked about this earlier today, how good a player he was with the Jets. And the one question, of course, is who would his offensive coordinator be? And I don't know the answer to that, but I think he's got a really good shot at this. This may come down to Jets versus Saints in the Aaron Glenn sweepstakes, if you want to call it that. Now, I've kept in touch with Aaron over the years, and I know from talking to people around him that he is really interested in the Jet job. I mean, it's been a job that he's had his eye on for several years, and I think he would love to come back home, so to speak, to coach the Jets. Flores, of course, has the head coaching experience. That makes him intriguing. He would do wonders with the Jet defense. Look what he's done in Minnesota. The downside is, he's got the loss. Not that it's a downside. He's got the pending lawsuit against the league. Not that that would be a huge factor, but some people skills were questioned in Miami. With management, he went through offensive coordinators there. We know how Tua felt about him. He was pretty public about that. So that would be the question with Flores. But I would say those are the two favorites at this point, the way I see it.
There you go. That is ESPN's Rich Cimini on who he believes are the two favorites right now for the Jets position. Now, Let's keep this in mind, folks. There are more interviews to come. Give a shout out to Samini, who had this on his ESPN tracker. Here are the interviews that are set to take place this week. Joe Brady, the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator. Brian Flores, the guy we just talked about. He's about to get his interview with the New York Jets, defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. Josh McCown, the quarterbacks coach for the Minnesota Vikings. Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. And Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they have a flurry of interviews to go through here. And then eventually, both in GM and head coach world, we should get a turn this week where we get to the second round of interviews, which basically those are the finalists. These are like, okay, they're coming back. That's when you're in to get, oh, whoa, this is serious with whoever potentially is coming in there from that perspective. So it looks like it is a Brian Flores, Aaron Glenn contest right now. But again, all those list of names I just mentioned have not yet interviewed with the Jets. So obviously they can jump into the mix and make a difference potentially. So keep that in mind as we're going through this process. Also, while we're having a conversation here, let's flip the banner, baby, because we've got our contest going on right now, and this is how you guys can get involved. This is the Boy Green Raffle leaderboard. Our number one gifter so far this month is number one Austrian Jet fan with 70 gifted memberships. J-Boy in second place with 65. Jimmy Jets in third place with 57. Devin, a.k.a. DNY for Life, with 33. And Fleur Lillian Big D with 11 gifted memberships. Memberships are only $2.99 a piece. If you enjoy the show, you want to help support the program, I'd appreciate it. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club down in the YouTube description down below. It's just very simple. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club by clicking here. Boop. It's $2.99. You can help support the show and get a chance to win some sick prizes, baby. You can get raffle tickets for every gifted membership or purchase membership for yourself if you'd like. And I highly recommend everyone to at least get one raffle ticket because you never know what can happen when we're giving it away at the end of this month. And here is what we're giving away, folks. This is our grand prize for one lucky winner at the end of this month. And it is this. Throw it up on the board, people. The Boy Green Raffle Giveaway Spectacular. A Nike Atmosphere Aaron Rodgers Heather Gray jersey, a $50 Boy Green merch shop gift card, and a custom laser engraving Jets Boy Green gift package that includes a license plate, pens, commemorative coins, and so much more. Guys, make sure you get involved, baby, and join up. That would be great. And yeah, Beast, if you're in here, that'd be wonderful. Oh, Beastbreaker 666. He says, iPhones don't let me be a member. That's okay, Beast, because we also accept super chats, super stickers, and PayPal, Venmo. All that description is in the Boy Green ticker down below. That can also count for your membership for anyone that has those issues. So feel free. The Boy Green Venmo and PayPal is at BoyGreen25, BOY, Green the color 25. So you guys can join in. Just make sure you send a little note that's going on there. Great. Oh, Three Siblings says that's a fake account, Boy Green. I don't know. I've just met Beastbreaker in person, so I don't know what his account is or not. But either way, salute to Beastbreaker. You must be pretty popular when you have fake accounts about you. That's a good story. That's good times. Anywho, that's how you guys can enter the contest, so feel free to do so, and let's get those memberships cranking. Let's get another one in here. So here's something else I wanted to get to. So the two favorites right now appear to be Aaron Glenn and Brian Flores. Again, the Jets have more people to interview this week, so let's keep that in mind. Now, Aaron Glenn, hearing some of the things that Rich Cimini said there about Aaron Glenn, they just warm my heart, man. They just warm my heart. Hearing things like this, let me read you some of the quotes we got from Rich Cimini here. This is from Rich Cimini on Aaron Glenn. He's really interested in the Jets job. It's been a job that he's had his eye on for several years. I think he'd love to come back home, so to speak. If you're a Jets fan, how do you not hear that and go, holy freaking crap, I want Aaron Glenn, right? How do you not hear that? It's awesome to hear that he wants it so bad. He rejected the Patriots interview. Like, oh, there's a lot of chutzpah there. Plus everything else that you legitimately want to hire him for, because you don't just hire a guy because he wants it. You just hire a guy because he spurns the Patriots. You hire him because he is a guy that's coming from a winning organization with the Detroit Lions. They were able to turn it around. They were a dumpster fire, the Lions were. Aaron Glenn shows up, and then all of a sudden things are moving to groove. And it wasn't just Aaron Glenn, but he was a part of that process. He's done awesome work on the defensive side of the football. When he's had talent, he's produced. When he hasn't had talent, he's had to make up for it by reaching into his bag as a defensive play caller. The accountability he holds players to, from what we hear, there's a lot to like about Aaron Glenn. But the other guy that is in the running, according to Rich Cimini, is Brian Flores, the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. Now, the thing that he has that Aaron Glenn doesn't is he's a former head coach. He was a head coach for the Miami Dolphins for 3 seasons. 2 of those seasons were 9 and 10 wins, respectively, there for Brian Flores. So there are 2 bugaboos that Jet fans look at Brian Flores and go, Number 1 was the relationship with players. Some people say that's exactly what the Jets need, so okay. But some people have concerns. And then the other one was, Ryan Grigson. That would be the guy? That'd be the guy he would be linked with? Well, not so fast, my friends. Let's go to another clip. This is from TOJ Talks. Will Parkinson on the Badlands feed had Rich Cimini on his podcast yesterday. And Rich Cimini actually said that Ryan Grigson is not as linked to Flores as people have assumed out in the social media streets. And also, there was a lot of hubbub that the Jets were seriously considering Ryan Grigson. Rich Cimini was one of the ones that reported that. And apparently, according to Cimini, he kind of got caught in a media fluff storm because a lot of people around, and you'll hear it in this clip, but a lot of people around Ryan Grigson were pumping him up, which had some, and when Cimini got this information, he said, oh boy, here we go. Everyone's on the Ryan Grigson train, including the Jets, but apparently it was more fluff than reality. A very intriguing clip here. And another plus potentially for the Brian Flores Pro crew, which I know we have a bunch in our comment section. Ryan Grigson ain't as attached to him as people say. Roll the footage.
Address the Ryan Grigson because now there's
I was going to say that was the big one.
Yeah. So, and I fell into this trap as well. So, we're getting a lot of information. Some of it's true. Some you have to sift through the garbage, and he's had a very active. People around him are, promoting him a lot and, contacting reporters. And so I think, sometimes we jump to conclusions based on that contact. In my own opinion, I want to stress that I do not think he would be a good hire for the Jets. He does not have a good drafting record. I mean, he ran Andrew Luck into premature retirement by not being able to build an offensive line around him. Now, he did have a good record in Indianapolis. They won a lot of games. They made the playoffs 3 times with, a generational quarterback prospect in Andrew Luck, who he picked. So he gets that credit on his resume. But, I mean, you or I could have picked Andrew Luck. And the rest of his drafting in Indianapolis was suspect at best. And the last couple of drafts in Minnesota, and he does have a lot of say in those Vikings drafts, have not been good. So I would be surprised if the Jets hired Grigson. I think he's trying to align himself with Brian Flores, who I think has a shot at the head coaching job. But I do not believe Grigson would be the best hire for the Jets, and I'd be surprised if they went in that direction.
Is Flores essentially just tied to Ryan Grigson? Because that would be a mistake on his part, I would assume.
No, I don't think so. I mean, just because they're on the same team, and there was a picture posted the other day of them talking to each other at practice with our Vikings reporter, Kevin Seifert, caught that. They're playing, Empire State of Mind, in the background, and made for a good tweet. But I don't think they're like totally connected. I think Grigson more so would like to align himself with Flores.
And there you go. So Rich Cimini would be surprised if the Jets hired Ryan Grigson. That's good news. We'll explain Ryan Grigson's case in a second. And number 2, he's not essentially tied to Brian Flores. People said, if we get Flores, we're going to be stuck with Grigson. That's not necessarily true, number 1. Number 2, let's get into Grigson. Grigson has a winning record with the Indianapolis Colts from his 5 seasons there. That I would imagine to a lot of Jet fans, like, okay, that's pretty intriguing after seeing what we saw with Joe Douglas. He had a 49-31 record his 5 years with the Indianapolis Colts. But the problem is that, of course, he also, you guys can go check out the TOJ Talks full episode. It's like 40 minutes, and there's some good stuff in there. Especially Grigson had some person-to-person issues. People skills. Apparently that was lacking a little bit in the building, and that got a little funky, so to speak. So that's in there. Of course, he destroyed Andrew Luck. He got this generational quarterback that was his first draft pick as a member of the Colts, and then he went on to have him prematurely retire because he got beat up so bad from a shitty offensive line. Now, you could say that, well, Paul, they have their offensive line figured out, so it'd be a little harder to fuck that up. That's true. But still, there were some bad drafts there from Ryan Grigson. There's him destroying Andrew Luck. And again, I think I said it yesterday on the show about second chance kids. That would be it for Flores and Grigson. Have they learned from the mistakes of the past? You don't know until you put them back on the job, I guess. But that would be the concern. That would be the concern. All right, let's get to a couple of additional comments here. Let's get to these on the show. 1 second here. We got Beastbreaker 666. Every time we get a YouTube super chat, we hear from my daughter, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
Beastbreaker 666 says, I'm an ass man. Which, hey, I respect. Hey, different strokes, different folks. You know, there's a joke I could make here, but I'm gonna leave that to marinate. But yes, how can you not be a Jake Asman? You know, Jake's. I love Jakey. Jakey's one of the best. Or, of course, if you're talking about derrieres, then sure, there's a lot of people on that bandwagon as well. I would venture to guess. All right, let's get a YouTube super chat. And by the way, Beastbreaker, 666, that's been added to your total. You're $1 short of a Boy Green raffle ticket. It's a $2.99, not $1.99. But we keep track of all the super chats people send in. So we'll keep that in mind. But Cuca Lake Jet Fan has a member shout out. It's been a member for 2 months. Shout out.
Wow.
Do I see Joe Brady being a sneaky option? I absolutely see Joe Brady being a sneaky option. If the Jets had their druthers, I think they would like an offensive guy. If they had their druthers. If everything worked out, they were the best candidate. They were an offensive guy. I don't necessarily know if they're going to force a square peg in a round hole and just take an offensive guy for no reason. Again, Rich Cimini's 2 favorites are both defensive guys, Brian Flores and Aaron Glenn. So obviously not. But if the Jets had their druthers, I think they would love Woody Johnson listens to the fans. He has only hired one offensive guy in his 25 years of ownership. That is Adam Gase. He has only hired one retread. That is Adam Gase. So it's interesting. Joe Brady, of course, would not be a retread. He's never been a head coach, but he's an offensive guy. I think he's absolutely a sneaky option. Let's see how the interview goes this week. But he's got a very interesting background. He was the young hotshot kid at LSU on the national championship team, 15-0 and all that. We're like, ooh, Joe Brady. Then he goes to Carolina and very hit or miss. And then he's cast off into the streets after Matt Rule implodes. And then he gets dusted off like an injured bird on the sidewalk. And the Buffalo Bills bring him in the building, and they've revitalized him. They've rejuvenated him. They've brought him back to life. Now, how much credit does he deserve for the offense we see with Josh Allen? That's up to you to decide, I suppose. But I do believe he is a very, very sneaky option. Not enough people talking about it. Totally possible. Totally possible. Inside the division, knows the division quite well. It's just how much credit do you give him for the Josh Allen experience? I think that is an important question. That's an important conversation to have. That is an important conversation to have. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Cuca Lake Jet Fan there. Beautiful comment. Let's get into this. We have almost 500 people in the room, and I see it. FL Phil 98 brought up the conversation. Let's scroll on up. Let me see if I could get to that comment real quick. Because there's another coaching candidate, obviously, that became available. And that was almost the topic of today's show. Let's throw it up here on the screen. FL Phil 98. I've been screaming Aaron Glenn from the start, and still am, but just for conversation, I want to hear if anyone is interested in Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, who is parting ways with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, real quick, with all due respect, why did the Dallas Cowboys do this? Are they idiots, man? We talked about this the other day on one of the shows I do. Where's the conviction, man? If you want to bring Mike McCarthy back, great. If you don't want to bring him back, okay. But why drag it out in this dramatic fashion through yesterday, the Cowboys missed the window, so they can't talk to Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson until their seasons are over. So they missed some quality candidates to talk to. Now, maybe it won't matter because apparently they're talking to Deion Primetime Sanders, so maybe it won't matter. But the Cowboys always do things silly. They have jeopardized their own head coaching search by dragging it out. If they just would have had some conviction about we want Mike McCarthy back or do not want Mike McCarthy back, they'd be in a better spot. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. So Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys have parted ways. And Mike McCarthy is supposed to have serious interest, apparently, from the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears. By the way, here's a cool little nugget. Here's a shout out for people who remember Front Office View. You know, Randy Mueller, our guy, former NFL general manager, he's going to be assisting with the New Orleans Saints search. And he has connections to the New Orleans Saints, obviously, and Mickey Loomis. So shout out to Randy Mueller. Maybe we'll get him on the show. I'm sure he'll be busy helping the New Orleans Saints find their next head coach, which could be Aaron Glenn. But I'll still see if we can get Randy on the show here in the near future. That'd be a lot of fun. But he's going to be a part of the search for the Saints. Super cool. And one of the names they're circling is Mike McCarthy. He was a offensive coordinator with the Saints from 2000 to 2004. So he's got some roots there. Obviously, they're also competing for Aaron Glenn. But here's the thing on Mike McCarthy. This was another clip. Let me see. Actually, I don't know. Let me see real quick. 1 second. Let me pull up this one. This is another clip I wasn't going to play here on the show today. I was going to save this for tomorrow. But long story short, here is I won't play the clip, but I'll just read you the quote. This is from Rich Cimini. Again, he was on Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. This is on the Mike McCarthy thing they're asked about. And Rich Cimini said, according to his reporting, he believes Mike McCarthy would want to talk to the Jets this cycle. His belief. And he said the idea of reuniting with Aaron Rodgers would intrigue him. But he doesn't believe the Jets have the same interest. And he went on to say, to your point, FL Phil 98, he went on to say, Rich Cimini, about the Mike McCarthy experience. They did interview him in 2019 for the coaching cycle. They ended up going with Adam Gase. They weren't blown away, apparently, by the interview process. But can we take a quick timeout, right? So Rich Cimini says the Jets in 2019 were not blown away by the interview of Mike McCarthy. So they went Adam Gase. They were apparently blown away by Adam Gase. Well, Adam Gase is one of the worst coaches in Jets history. So if you had a great feeling about Gase and a shitty feeling about Mike McCarthy, you know, maybe it's a sign that you were wrong. And maybe you should talk to Mike McCarthy. I mean, for all you want to say about Mike McCarthy, this guy is a Super Bowl champion, the Green Bay Packers. He's obviously an experienced head coach. He has 18 years of head coaching experience, the last 5 with Dallas, and then sprinkle in another 13 years there with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, this guy is an experienced coach. He's an offensive guy. He's put up, 30-plus point per game seasons with the Cowboys. He has quarterback skills. Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Rush has certainly had moments. His team fought for him at the end of the season when some thought it was all over. So he has a motivating quality from that perspective. I mean, the fact that the Jets are interviewing Mike Loxley, but they're not sure if they want to talk to Mike McCarthy again, that seems a bit weird. Now, you can sit where you may with Mike McCarthy and decisions. Here's another nugget. This guy had 3 straight 12-win seasons for the Cowboys in the middle of that 5-year span he had. The Jets in their history, the most wins they've ever had in a single regular season is 12 wins. It happened once back in 1998. Once. That's the most wins they've ever had. Mike McCarthy did it 3 times in a row. Now, I get you don't get trophies for regular seasons unless you win the division. Nice little a couple of NFC East titles there for the Cowboys, I'm sure. But, like, Mike McCarthy's pretty gosh darn accomplished. Offensive guy, experienced guy, quarterback guy. Like, I don't know, man. Again, Rich Cimini said this, right, on the show, that the Jets weren't really wowed by Mike McCarthy. But, you know, what he didn't say is that they were wowed by Adam Gase, and that was a horrible instinct. Maybe their instincts were flip-flop. I mean, maybe they should be talking to him, long story short. I mean, that is interesting. So should we be interested basically in Mike McCarthy? You know, it's an interesting question. I think we should be interested in talking to him because again, we're interviewing everyone under the gosh darn blue sun for God's sakes, and I'm all for talking to him, and we should. Doesn't sound like the Jets will. It sounds like he's going to be interested in other ways, but that could indirectly, of course, impact the Jets. If the Saints get all over Mike McCarthy, that eliminates an Aaron Glenn destination. And with all due respect, I think if the Jets and Saints both offered Aaron Glenn their head coaching position, I would be flabbergasted if Glenn picked the Saints over the Jets. I know he's got history with the organization. His final playing season in 2008 was with the Saints. He was their defensive backs coach from like 2016 to 2020. So he had a couple years coaching, had a year playing. He spent 8 of his 15 seasons in the NFL with the Jets. He spent 2 additional seasons after that in scouting. This was a former first-round pick, a guy that told Rich Cimini at the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago it would be a dream job to coach the Jets. What are we talking about here? Again, he's got a history with the Saints, but he doesn't have the Jets' history with the Saints. You know? Anywho, that's just me. Let's go to Spin Max here. We're going to answer a couple of questions here. We'll open up the phone lines in a little bit. Greetings, Paul. After yesterday's crappy performance, what's the future for Sam Darnold? That's a good question, Spin Max. I would say this. Sam Darnold's still 27 years of age. Russell Wilson certainly didn't look great in his own right at the end of the Steelers playoff run. Those two individuals are the top, and I use that in heavy quotes for our audio-only listeners, okay? Those are the top free agent quarterback options available in 2025. That is Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson's like a decade older than Sam Darnold, so you factor that into the evaluation process. I think Sam lost himself a lot of money, if we're being blunt, over not just this game, the last 2 games. The Week 18 where they had the chance to get the number 1 seed and they blow it, and then this past game, Sam Darnold turned back into Sam Darnold. There was ghosts and all the other jokes that Sam Darnold wishes people wouldn't say anymore. But he's still 27 years of age, and the breadth of the season, which is what Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, argued about, said, look at the sample size, people. Don't just judge off prisoner of the moment. Look at what he did the full season. And Kevin O'Connell was right. So I still think Sam Darnold will be a highly sought-after quarterback this offseason. There might be trepidation for teams going, oh, boy, this could get crazy. But I still anticipate Sam Darnold getting like a 3-year pretty big deal. I'd be surprised if he just this offseason signs another 1-year prove-it deal or something like that. That would surprise me. I think he has proven he's got some chutzpah, but it's going to be a little scary for whatever team. Again, my gut says he would not want to come back to the Jets, unfortunately. I'd like to get more use again out of my Sam Darnold jersey in the closet, but, my gut says he would want to start fresh. That'd be my gut. I don't know if my gut's right. That's just my gut. I haven't talked to anyone, but that would be what I'd say. Number 1 Austrian Jet fan says McCown, no matter what position, and I would imagine offensive coordinator would be the allure for him. A Brian Flores, Josh McCown pairing. And another name to think about potentially for Brian Flores, if it's not Ryan Grigson, thank God, it could be Mike Borgonzi with the Chiefs, who has the connection to Scott Pioli, who has the connection to Brian Flores. So a lot of connective tissue there that could add up. Again, we got 600 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Number 1 Australian Jet fan, Boy Green, Liam Cohen. He's not on the Jets interview list. Let me double check. We have Joe Brady, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, Josh McCown, Bobby Slowick, Arthur Smith. Yeah, Liam Cohen not on the Jets interview list. He is not. I mean, I guess that could change. The Bucks are available. LOL. I just take a sick pleasure in teams being eliminated from the playoffs because we were eliminated several weeks ago. But no, in all seriousness, though, Liam Cohen is not on the list right now. So that could change, of course, but he is currently not on the list. So sorry for the Liam Cohen Bucks fans out there, which, again, would have made a lot of sense because they're interviewing Mike Greenberg. No, not ESPN's Get Up Mike Greenberg. Mike Greenberg of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wouldn't that be a natural connection? I mean, you don't – just because people are from the same team doesn't mean they have to come together, again, i.e., Ryan Grigson, Brian Flores. But you would have thought Mike Greenberg, Liam Cohen would have potentially been a package pair, but apparently not. Apparently not. And no, John Gruden is also not on the interview list currently. Not a interview list. Free Sibling says you have to interview Mike McCarthy. By all accounts, they won't. So take that for whatever you will. But they currently do not plan to. We will see. We will see. Catching up on some of your comments here. FL Phil 98. I think Sanders goes to Dallas maybe this week. Now, to your point, FL Phil 98, Deion Sanders is not binded by the NFL rules of divisional round or this round, of course, because Deion Sanders is a college football coach. But the Dallas Cowboys do have to go through the Rooney Rule process, which is interviewing 2 external minority candidates. Obviously, Deion could be one of those, but they'd have to interview another before they could make a hire. But, boy, that one makes a lot of sense. 2 makes sense. I heard the Deion Sanders Las Vegas Raiders rumors, so that one's spicy for obvious reasons. They have a better shot at Shadur Sanders. And Dallas, they have Dak Prescott. So unless some crazy add Deion, trade Dak for the top pick to get Shadur, maybe, I guess. But there's a lot of hubbub there. That would be crazy. If Deion actually gets a Dallas job, that would be wild. That would be absolutely bonkers. Sean O'Connell, that is correct. The Jets did pass on Mike McCarthy for Adam Gase a while back. What a winning decision that was. Taylor Sterling says, Mike McCarthy is OC. It seems like he's going to get a head coaching job. He's got great interest from the Saints and Bears, and it sounds like that's legit. I like the thought of him as an OC, but I don't think that's going to happen. If we're being realistic, Taylor Sterling on YouTube. Brandon A says, Sanders is just using the NFL headlines to get more money from Colorado. Could totally be possible. I won't shun that opportunity. I won't shun that possibility. Fastest Food Reviews, a.k.a. Chef Kevin Gilbert, said, we'd be fools not to at least interview Mike. Again, why wouldn't you interview him? He's wildly accomplished. Super Bowl winning coach. He's a winning coach too. I have it in my one of my articles today. Let me pull it up. I had it from yesterday. I wrote a piece after the news came out. Let's see. I got it here. 1 second. His coaching record is 174, 112, and 2 in his 18 seasons. He had 13 years with the Packers, and he had 5 years with the Cowboys. With the Packers, during that 13 years, he was 125 and 77, won a Super Bowl, won 6 NFC North titles, and made the playoffs 9 times. Sign me up. And then, as I mentioned with the Cowboys, he had 3 straight 12-win seasons. So the Mike McCarthy resume, not too shabby. And again, Big Mike and Aaron Rodgers, by the way, for those who don't know, they actually have a really good relationship, despite what some people think. In the Enigma documentary, Mike McCarthy was in there singing all kinds of sweet praises for Aaron Rodgers. And Mike McCarthy said in follow-up radio interviews that they keep in contact. So for the pro Aaron Rodgers return guys, Mike McCarthy would be a thing that makes a lot of sense. Let's go, John Hepburn, a.k.a. Hep. Who's on the Mount Rushmore of Jets bad coaches? Well, I'm glad you asked. Come on, man. I mean, obviously Adam Gase is on that list. Let's put him up there. Let's, the fact that there is, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. So Adam Gase is definitely on that list. And I would assume this is head coaches only, or I would throw Nathaniel Hackett's ass on that list, but that's neither here nor there. How is Jeff Ulbrich not on that list? Good Lord have mercy, he was god-awful. Rich Kotite is on that list. So we've got Adam Gase. We've got Rich Kotite. Oh, my God. Lou Holtz. Do we put his 3-10 ass on there? Sure. And then I'm putting Jeff Ulbrich. There you go. There's the Mount Rushmore. Adam Gase, Rich Kotite, Lou Holtz, Jeff Ulbrich. That would be it. There's your 4. Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable levels of ineptitude. That would probably be it for me. Okay. Let me answer a few more questions, and we'll open up the phone lines here. Taking Glenn over McCarthy would be nuts. I've been stunned. I will put it that way, number one Austrian Jet fan. I've been stunned by the response from Jet fans. So I tweeted out yesterday when there was rumors that Mike McCarthy could be let go and that the Saints would be interested, according to Saints people. I'm like, oh, great, we could get Aaron Glenn. And so many Jet fans immediately let me up like, dude, how would you want Glenn over Mike McCarthy? I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect the caping for Mike McCarthy. I mean, he's got a very intriguing resume, but Interesting. Yeah, that was surprising. I would say that. I would say that. That is crazy. He did cost himself a lot of money, Sam did. But I still think he gets a lot of money. Yeah, 3-7 says 30 or 40 million a year. That would not surprise me. He's 27 years of age. Somebody's going to pay him the bag. Maybe it won't be the Jets. Sorry, Jet fans, but someone's going to give him the bag for sure. Three siblings adds, that was a brutal game, but I'm not throwing away his whole season for 2 games. I'm sorry. Some people will. Some people will be too scared to do that. Jojo Townswell, how many more GM candidates do we need to interview? We don't need to interview any. We are Rooney Rule compliant. But how many will they? There's Brian Gain. I know that one's coming this week. And I'm missing one more off the top of my head that I can't remember. So I apologize. But Brian Gain, the Buffalo Bills assistant GM, he is on the Jets list this week. And there's one more guy. There's one more guy that his name's escaping me, but there's one more on top of Brian Gain that we'll be interviewing. Okay. All right, let me skip ahead to see if we missed any Super Chats, memberships, etc. All right, why don't we do this, folks? We're going to open up the phone lines, and you guys can share all your thoughts. Mike McCarthy, Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores, Ryan Grigson. Good Lord have mercy. There's a lot happening. We'll open up the phone lines after this.
Boy Green daily, Boy Green daily, Boy Green daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green daily, Boy Green daily, Boy Green daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green daily.
Hep, I love that guy. We've got 600 plus people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute. And again, our raffle contest is going on right now. We have a ton of people that have been entering. Again, number one Austrian Jet fan has 70 memberships. J-Boy, 65. Jimmy Jets, 57. DNY for Life, 33. And for Lillian Big D with 11. So a lot of people have, but I highly recommend you at least buy one membership for yourself. That gives you a chance to win our grand prize raffle at the end of the month. If you have one raffle ticket, you have a chance. Obviously, the more raffle tickets you buy, the better odds you have. But you guys can send those in. If you can't purchase a membership, you have the iPhone problem like a lot of people do in our comments section, feel free to super chat, super sticker, or PayPal or Venmo your finances in. Again, just keep in mind that raffle tickets are $2.99 per. That's the same price as a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Try to make it as cheap as possible for you guys and give you guys the massive amount of perks you can have. So feel free to take full advantage of that. You get access to our Discord channel. You become a loyal member, of course, to the brand. You can also ask exclusive Q&A questions when we have big-time guests on this offseason, which we certainly will. You guys will be able to ask questions through our Discord to those guests to get your questions answered, which would be a lot of fun. So, guys, make sure you take, like I said, full advantage of that process, baby. That'd be pretty good. And look at that, number one Austrian Jet fan, baby, coming through in the clutch with a gifted Boy Green raffle. Yeah, baby, our number one Austrian Jet fan jumping on board. You love to see it. And that went to 0.5. You were just gifted a membership from a boy number one Austrian Jet fan, and that is another raffle ticket in the contest. That increases number one Austrian Jet fan's lead. He now has 71 gifted membership so far this month. We'd love to see it. Shout out to our number one Austrian Jet fan, baby. Okay, very nice. All right, now Austrian may be in for another win, baby. That could certainly happen. All right, let's do this. We'll jump over to the phone lines. I believe we got EZ here on the show. What's up, EZ? No? Maybe not. Okay, let me try this. Up, and he just disappeared. So, sorry, EZ, but anyone who's trying to call in, feel free to give that another. Feel free to give that another whirl. It might be my streamer. I might have to reset, get back out here in a second. Why don't I do this? So I'll try to play a quick video here. We'll be right back. I'll see if I can fix whatever problem is happening. So 1 second here. Let's play another Hep song here. We'll play this one. We'll be right back. I think we're about to have another legendary call here. I wasn't even aware that this caller I'm about to bring on had talents that expanded to this level. Hep joins us on the show with the guitar. Hep?
Hey, fellas. Okay. Boy Green Daily. We're talking Jets. We are the best. Forget the rest. We're up to date. We're going there. Super Bowl's coming, so all beware. Yeah.
Wow. Good go, Hep. Wow, Hep. Great stuff. Okay, I think we got everything back. We'll see. Let's bring Hep on the phone lines. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul. I thought I had the camera figured out. I was able to get onto Jake's show, but for some reason, the SteamYard, is that what it's called? SteamYard?
Yeah, StreamYard, yeah.
Yeah, for your camera, it keeps knocking me. It says no camera, and I keep pressing it, but it keeps going back. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's
I'll
all
have
right.
to
We'll
figure
figure
it
it
out.
out eventually. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, what do you think? What do you think? What are we looking at as far as getting this whole thing buttoned up? As far as the coach and the GM.
By all accounts, it seems like the GM hire is going to happen first. It's going to happen, like I said, around the weekend time, it seems, because the Jets still have, I think it's 2 interviews left in GM world outside of some new person entering the mix that we're unaware of at this time. And those should happen here at the beginning of the week. And then second round of interviews should happen very immediately. The people the Jets, quote unquote, consider the finalists from the group that they've already interviewed. And then as soon as that's happening and over, boom. I mean, the Jets will be able to hire their GM, and that GM will then, by virtue, be able to help the Jets with the rest of their head coaching search, especially as they get into those second interviews as well. They have a ton of, here are all the head coaching interviews. One more time. These are all the head coaching interviews the Jets will perform this week. Joe Brady, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, Josh McCown, Bobby Sloak, and Arthur Smith. Those are all the rest of the guys that are on the public list for the New York Jets to interview this week. So they've got a lot left to go here for head coaching. So it sounds like the GM hire will be happening this week.
You think that you think it's like looking like maybe 85% is going to be Glenn right now?
For head coach, yes. Yeah. That's my lean. It just seems to be too many signs that it's going to be Glenn, with him wanting it, the Jets wanting him. Like it just feels too good to be true, which again can always leave you zigging instead of a zag, I guess. But yeah, it would be that crazy 85 majority percent. Again, they still have to interview a lot of guys, as we mentioned, so maybe something else happens. But as far as right now is concerned, Aaron Glenn should be the next head coach of the New York Jets.
Any chance of getting McCown in as an offensive coordinator, or you think he's just going to sit where he is and go for that head coaching next year?
That's a great question. Now, Rich Cimini, while he was doing a variety of media hits yesterday, said that it's no lock that Josh McCown just goes anywhere away from the Vikings for an OC job. He's currently the quarterback's coach. He said Josh is really enjoying his time out there in Minnesota, and he's learning a lot from Kevin O'Connell. So it'd have to be the right situation, I would imagine. I don't know. I'm probably speaking highly of the Jets here for McCown, but obviously he knows the Jets, so I would say it's a possibility. I don't know if it's a lock. If Flores comes, it's McCown, but I think that would excite a lot of Jet fans. I would imagine, speaking for Jet fans, to get that defensive mind, Brian Flores, former head coach, and then to get potentially Josh McCown would be exciting. And again, also, as we mentioned earlier in the show, just because they're connected doesn't mean, like, for instance, Josh McCown apparently is an option for Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, which would be disgusting. But he apparently is on his list, according to New England people. Josh McCown's on the OC list for the Patriots, so that scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. All right, guys, thanks. I'll get this thing figured out. I love you. See you around.
All right, there he is. Hep joining us here on the show. Love it. Yeah, apparently on the Patriots short list is Josh McCown for OC. Ugh. No friggin' thank you. No, thank you. I do not. Not in this world, baby. Not in this world. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines here. We've got B-Mac. Bum, 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 bum. Here he is on the show. What's up, B-Mac? Good morning. There you go. Fired up. Oh, the gun show.
Hey, nice. Paul, I'm ready. I'm ready to go this morning.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta call someone out.
Call someone out. Okay, who? Yeah, sure.
a gentleman named Three Siblings. No. Put you in two.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 3 siblings. Okay, here he is. He's right here. He just commented. These might be peaches or strawberries, maybe. I don't know.
Thank you for the tomatoes. I do love
tomatoes. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see. Now
yeah.
I get it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tomatoes are my favorite. So,
okay.
especially at Burger King. You know what I mean? With the
right.
double.
I'm not a
waffle.
big tomato guy, but different strokes. Yeah.
So thank you, Three Siblings. But yeah, I wish he would call in because I don't get this dude's takes. He's very. And I know I'm gonna get killed at you Aaron Rodgers fan. Oh, you Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, put both of them on. Hey, if Three Siblings wants to call into the show, I'll make it happen. Yeah, I'll put you guys both on the show.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, you wouldn't be a Jets. You wouldn't be on the Jets. Channel. Yeah. Go screw yourselves. But I don't get this man's takes, man. He's in the chat whipping Rodgers, saying that. He doesn't want Rodgers back, and he's washed and he's cooked. Like, I don't know what weed or what pot he's smoking, because I would sure love some. If you want to move on from Rodgers for like salary cap ramifications, whatever, that's fine. But to say you want to move on from Rodgers because he's washed or he's cooked, that means you are uneducated with football, and you just No, I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to salt the man's intelligence because I don't know him personally. You know what I mean? So I don't.
Okay.
So I don't want to say anything about the man's IQ because I'm not like that.
Okay.
But I just think that there's something going on inside your head. Maybe you don't like Rodgers personally. Maybe he didn't get the vaccine or something like that, so that pissed you off. Whatever, but. I know people want to put all of the blame on him this season, and if people are doing that, I just think that's lazy. There's a lot of things that went wrong. Besides, just him, and this thing I keep going back to. If you don't want him, who's out there that's better than him that you can get? You know what I mean? Unless he doesn't want to play no more. If Rodgers don't want to play no more, I mean that's his decision. That's fine, but. To move on and then automatically say move on and then who's your next replacement and then people say I don't know then that stuff don't make sense. You know what I mean?
Here, Three Siblings has sent to the comment here. He said, all I do is football. I work in football. I have a 7th grade son playing varsity 7-on-7. I know football, he says.
Well, maybe you do, Three Siblings. I don't know. Maybe you do. You do takes in the chat. I don't know if you trolling or you just trying to be funny, but by your takes in the chat, it doesn't seem like you do know football. So I don't know. Maybe you come in here and educate me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm pretty sure you are a real Jets fan and you know a lot of the Jets history. I'm not taking that away from you, but I just don't get your takes because your takes is wild. You know what I mean? Sometimes, but. I don't know. I mean, Three Siblings, who's your better option than Rodgers next year? Kirk Cousins, you know what I mean? I take Rodgers over Cousins, Fields. I take Rodgers over Fields, Sam Darnold. I'm sorry, but Sam Darnold got exposed yesterday. You know what I mean? That was a fluke year. I take Rodgers over Sam Darnold personally. You know what I mean? I think that was more of the Vikings system than Sam. And I mean, again, not taking nothing away from Sam. The stats are the stats, and he had an amazing year. Definitely gonna get comeback player of the year. But last night was Jet Sam, then Viking Sam. I mean, he was definitely seeing ghosts in Arizona. And I mean, what are options? Mac Jones, Derek Carr. You know what I mean? Like, I love these people to say that they don't want Rodgers back, and then they can't figure out what's their next choice is.
He did not provide a choice, but he did say this, Three Siblings. Rodgers not worth the money, the hold he has on a franchise. I love Rodgers, but it's time for him to go. He can't lead us to a championship. And I would just say real quick on the financials, again, whether he retires or they cut him, the financials are the same for this offseason from that perspective. So in terms of worth the money or not worth the money, they don't save any great deal of money by moving on. They just, I guess they would delay the inevitable if they kept him. Oh, yeah, sure.
Three siblings. If that's the case, these Simmons, I respect it. I totally respected it. You know, if you want to move on because of the cap and he's too expensive for his salary. Now he did say he would, if he does come back and play, he's open for a pay cut. He took one before, but look, if that's the case, then great. I respect your opinion, but to say that he's washed and he's cooked, and I just think that's lazy. Rodgers showed this season, and again, it wasn't perfect, and he wasn't perfect. I'm not saying Rodgers was elite and he was Hall of Fame. No, he made a ton of mistakes. Especially in crunch time. Where he could have elevated and show up. I'm not trying to act like it was none of his fault, but to say that he's washed and he's cooked, like Rodgers showed the majority of the season that he clearly has a lot left in the tank. And I'm sorry, if you put Rodgers on the Chargers and Rodgers on the Packers, this weekend, he probably could have won those games. You know what I mean? Like you can't say Justin Herbert is clearly better than Rodgers after what you saw. You can't say Love is. Again, I love Jordan Love, but I think that contract was too immature. I think you should have gave him another year to at least proven himself that he's worth that money. $250 million highest paid quarterbacks don't put up performances like that. You know what I mean? And I know people will make excuses for the injuries, but I'm sorry, 3 picks is 3 picks, and you gotta be able to put up a better performance than that. So
by the way, Aaron Rodgers is set to count against the cap $23.5 million. That's super manageable. So, and again, I repeat, if the Jets cut Aaron Rodgers or he retires, either way, it's the same cap hit for the Jets. So I just don't understand. Yeah, go ahead.
Paul, what's your opinion on this whole? Because I know you was on board bringing it back, and then you kind of changed your tune. What's your whole opinion on the Rodgers thing? And then do you think Rodgers is washed, or do you think there's people just trolling?
Yeah, to me, everyone wants to fire people. It's a sexy thing to do. Everyone wants to fire people, like coaches or what have you. And then my follow-up question to those people that want to fire people or move on from quarterback is, what's your solution? And they go, huh? I'm like, well, what's your solution? You say you want to fire somebody. Well, who's better? Who's going to replace? And sometimes people are a little quiet on the answers. So for me, while I've gone back and forth on the Aaron Rodgers, I try to be a fan on this show. I try to just the emotions on the sleeves, and I try to just ride the wave. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. It's all over the place. And for me, I would love to have Aaron Rodgers back, because right now, what is the alternative option? The Sam Darnold just crapped the bed. Russell Wilson ain't coming here. And then, so free agency's off the table, unless you're in for a Justin Fields conversation. Or a draft, and you're not high enough to draft one of the top guys. Then you have to take someone in the middle. Someone mentioned Jackson Dart as an option. Okay, I guess, as someone who's in the mid-rounds, wherever that person ultimately will be. But to me, there is a case for Aaron Rodgers. It's going to depend on the head coach, too. The head coach, Mike McCarthy, I think he'd want Aaron Rodgers back. If it would have been Vrabel, I think he would have wanted Aaron Rodgers back. I think there are a few people in the cycle that would want Aaron Rodgers back, and it's impossible for me to speak for like an Aaron Glenn or a Brian Flores. Would they be pro Aaron Rodgers, people or against? I don't know. I guess ultimately we're going to find out once they're hired. So I don't think it's totally over for Aaron.
So, and do you think he's had? Do you think he has a lot left in the tank to be in a conversation with these top quarterbacks? I mean, not top quarterbacks, like with the Herberts and the Loves and them.
So top 10, top 15, sure. Yeah, he just threw 4 touchdown passes in his final game of the season. I mean, I still think there's juice left for Aaron Rodgers. So absolutely, can he be in the top 10, top 15 quarterback? Yes. Can he be in the top 5? I don't know. Again, you've mentioned this several times on past calls, BMAC, that the further you get away from the Achilles, in theory, the healthier he should be and the more explosive and everything else, relatively speaking. Again, he's 41, will be 42 next year, so the explosiveness has a ceiling to it of what he could be.
And people want to talk about. We'll go quick, and then I go, because I know I'm kind of holding up, But people want to talk about his mobility. He has 107 rushing yards this year. This is not bad for a 41-year-old man.
Not at all. Not at all,
So-
B-Mac. 3 siblings, unfortunately, did not accept your challenge. He never came up here in the comment section, or the call-in section, rather, so I apologize there, B-Mac.
All right, no, that's okay. I mean, I understand he's busy, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I do like 3 siblings, but I
No.
don't know, man. He's been pissing me off lately with his comments in the chat. But I don't know, but
there you
that's
go.
between me and him personalized. Now, I don't want to get you involved. But,
I appreciate that. Well, B-Mac, thanks for calling in, brother. And anytime anyone has a squabble to settle, feel free. Feel free. We want we don't need a bunch of yes men here. Boy Green, you're great. It's this, it's that. I'm cool with good conversation. People feel this way or this way on a variety of topics. Let's go. I think hearty conversation is good for the soul, baby. It's very good for the soul. Again, we got nearly 700 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. Let's head back to the phone lines. June, the GM, is back on again. What's up, June?
Hey, my friend, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening?
So, quick fun fact: this hat is actually autographed by Kenny Mayne.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I've done some acting before, and I was on the Kenny Mayne show for ESPN, so we became pretty good, friends on set. And he blessed me with this. So that it's
that's
nice
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
all right.
So, okay, watching some of the game last night.
Oh
there
God.
were times when Flores looked confused, and like we talked about this yesterday. There's levels to coaching, and it's like McVay was like Mr. Spock, like he was somewhere else. And I saw Flores kind of confused, and I'm looking at him. I'm saying, "Oh man, we don't got an easy division. The AFC is stacked."
Yeah.
Also, I've learned that Flores ran through 3 offensive coordinators when he was in Miami.
That's correct. Yes.
I'm a big proponent of who you got on your phone that you can call for some advice, right? If you're podcasting, you got to have some people you can call. Hey, I need some help.
Sure.
Okay. Look at Aaron Glenn's coaching tree. Aaron Glenn is a Parcells guy.
He is. He talks to him every week, Ritsamini says. Yeah.
To me, I know Belichick's great. I feel like growing up watching Bill Parcells, he's what I call him and Jimmy Johnson. I always got him right there as next level type of coaches.
Yeah.
He's in connection with him. He's out there in the program in Detroit that we know. Detroit, Cleveland, and the Jets have always been the bottom of the crab barrel in the NFL. Nobody takes none of our organizations seriously. And he's there. He was there for the turnaround. He's a disciplinarian, believe it or not. He's not an easy guy to just, he's not. I don't like Flores. I don't like Flores. I think if you bring over Glenn, let him pick the guy Tanner, who's the passing game coordinator in Detroit.
Engelstead or something. I know who you're talking about.
Or Mark Brunell, which is an old Jacksonville Jaguar legend. He was great.
Former Jets quarterback, baby. Shout out to Mark Brunell.
Let's pluck from Detroit. I don't like the idea of Flores down here. I think he's volatile. I think, he's going to go through 2-3 offensive coordinators himself. The way he's going to handle the media, I really think if we get Flores, it's going to be a disaster. I don't know why. I don't feel good about him. I don't.
Well, I appreciate the honesty because, like I said, I'm a little nervous. He is abrasive. He does have that OC history. People don't talk about that enough. He has that OC history of volatility there. He had the issue with the players, and the most important relationship is between the coach and the players. That's a big thing that people gloss over. And when people say, boy, the Jets need that, I'm like, I think there's a fine line between Saleh, everyone's best friend, and Flores, everyone's his enemy. I want something in the middle.
Right.
Some discipline.
And this for a fact, right? You're never supposed to make a life-changing decision when you're in an emotional state.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, how would he coach against teams like the Dolphins? Because his, he already has that anger, and I don't want us to be the team that, now he's cool with the NFL because now he's coaching it. I don't want none of that. I don't want no coach with no history of that stuff suing the NFL. That's probably why we didn't interview Gruden, right? I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. I want us. We need to stop playing games. I'm telling you now. Paul, I'm nervous. I think if we keep playing games and stretching out this Aaron Glenn thing, he's going to mess around and say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take the job down here. And then Dallas is open.
That is true.
That
The
could
good
be
news
landing
is
spot for
because
him.
so Dallas can't speak with Aaron Glenn now because they missed the window. They can't speak to him until the end of the Lions season, whenever that is. If they go to the Super Bowl, Cowboys can't speak to him for like a month. So because they fucked around with their interviewing process and not knowing that they were going to interview. So that's good news that not Flores. Well, Flores' season is over. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, anyone that's on staffs that are in the Buffalo Bills, Joe Brady, any one of those, they can't talk to any of those guys right now.
Let me ask you a question. Is that a scary
Yeah.
thing for us? Is that going to force, our organization makes stupid things. You think
Yeah.
it's going to force our hand to say, hey, we don't want to wait too long to talk to Glenn again. Let's just grab Flores. He's available now. That's another thing that got me a little shaky.
If that happens, the Jets are dumber than I could possibly think. Because if they've been this patient with talking to a million people for both jobs, and then they just go, you know what, we're growing impatient. Let's just hire someone who's available. Brian Flores, here we go. And they don't wait out Aaron Glenn. That would be a ridiculous, short-sighted, naive decision.
But we're talking about a owner.
Well, that's true.
Owner who fires with one game out of first place, fires the head coach who I wasn't a fan of. Nobody, I didn't really like him.
Right.
But we were one game out of first place, fires him. I mean, if any team can do it, it's our Jets. That's what we're known for.
So I have to say it this way, which won't make you feel any better, but it's a non-0% chance that the Jets do something silly like what you say. I don't think it's likely like 85%, but I can't say it's zero because the Jets have done some crazy shit before. So I hope that they're patient because, again, you're already this deep. Why not see everything through to get the best possible candidate? Because what ultimately is the difference between a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? You know what I mean? Ultimately, even if Aaron Glenn goes to the Super Bowl and the Jets hire him wink, wink in February, awesome. We have a great coach who just went to the friggin' Super Bowl. Hopefully can share some of that juice over here. But yeah, I hope they don't rush the process.
I don't see impatient Woody waiting that long. If God forbid Detroit, I love Detroit. I love to see them win a Super Bowl, but not this year. Because I want us to get Glenn faster. Because if we have to wait to the Super Bowl, I promise you, Woody's gonna do something crazy. What'd he do?
No, that's always a scary thought. June, thanks for another call, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
All right, and look at the ESPN autograph. June with the flex. Yeah, I was into some acting. Yeah, I know some people. Okay, June. Okay, flex on them. But yes, it's a good way to end the show to talk about the potential of fear of the Brian Flores is now available. Obviously, the Vikings have been eliminated from the playoffs. Let's see what that means. But like I said, hopefully the Jets just do their due diligence and go through this process. That's what we got to cross our fingers for. That's what we got to hope for. And we'll see. Again, there's a slew of names. These are all the interviews that are coming this week again for the Jets and head coaching. Joe Brady, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, Josh McCown, Bobby Slowick, and Arthur Smith are all set to interview this week for the New York Jets head coaching position. And like I said, I believe we have 2 GM candidates left. Brian Gaine and one other individual, the name escapes me, is someone else. It might even be Grigson, although they already interviewed Grigson, so it's not Grigson. I can't remember who it is. But either way, 2 GM guys left and a bunch of head coaches left. We'll see what happens. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We got 700 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. We'll be back on at 3 o'clock with Boy Green Meets Woody. And guess what? On Thursday at 3 o'clock, Sean Lights Out Merriman will be joining us here on the show to talk some Jets. And also, he has a cool new partnership, one of the great college all-star games, the East-West Shrine Bowl. We'll be talking about that as well. Thanks, guys and gals, for tuning in, and we will see you later today at 3 o'clock for Boy Green Meets Woody. Peace.